Hello, welcome to EEA, that's Evolutionary Earth Astrology. My name is Zipporah, and this is our Cancer, the Zodiac sign Cancer in the Brain video. It is the fourth video in our Zodiac in the Brain 12-part series, which you will find on this channel in our playlist. Now, this series was created because I discovered that the Zodiac symbols in astrology look like structures in the brain, which let me know that the astrology symbols were pointing to something that was in mankind. So now I've set out to prove it to myself and to you. Okay, so before we begin, make sure you go back and watch the introduction video, the Aries, Taurus, and Gemini in the Brain video, which I said is in my playlist. Okay, so there's a lot of information in those videos that I will not repeat because Cancer needs its own video. So go ahead and check out those videos and return back here. And before we start, I just want to ask the question, what do you think, what part of the brain do you think belongs to Cancer? Now, if you've been following the other videos, you should kind of know where I'm going. But anyway, I'm going to share my screen. I'll be right back. Okay, I had to pause the recording, but I'm back. So does this look like this is the question. This is the Cancer symbol. This is the part of the brain that I see the Cancer symbol in. And so we're going to go to the next slide. Okay, so this is the midbrain and it's shaped like a crab. Okay, so the symbol that I showed you before, this circle here, this part, and this part. We'll get into the names on the next slide, but I just want to kind of make sure that you're with me on that symbol. Again, this is the Cancer symbol. Now it's on top of each other, but it's not going to be like that inside the brain. This is the midbrain. This area right here is where it is facing the frontward, but then this is what it looks like once we get into it. Okay. So the midbrain is shaped like a crab. Do you see this whole shape here? Look at this shape. Okay, do you see how this similarly looks like the shape of that crab? Do you see that? This is the midbrain facing up like this. Okay, and you even see these tentacle looking things hanging out. And so that's the crab's eyes. Do you see how the oculomotor nerve, see that coming out like that? You see how that looks like the crab's eyes? Now, this is an exaggerated picture that I had made, but just so you can see that. You see that? This whole thing has a crab-like shape. Okay, so this is the front part of it. Okay, so right down here, substantia nigra. See this black line going to that? And so see this, the subthalamic nucleus. See, that's that area right here. So last time we learned on that this the thalamus belongs to Taurus, this big round circle. So right up under there with these things right here, this belongs to Cancer. So Cancer is kind of underneath Taurus, and we learned that Gemini was right here. So anyway, yeah, this is the area right under here that belongs to Cancer, and that's the midbrain area. Okay. Go to the next slide. So I just wanted to convince you that, does this look like this? Now we're going to get into the meat of it, because everything in astrology has been pointing to mankind, man's connection to the universe and all that is. So again, we have Cancer. The motto is I feel. And here's the symbol. But now we need to go through what a glyph is quickly. A glyph is a symbolic figure or character used to represent a concept, form, or structure. A symbol is something that stands for or represents something deeper, often abstract or unseen. A motto is a short phrase that expresses the guiding principle or core expression of something. So again, in astrology, each of the 12 zodiac signs has this glyph or this symbol that represents what the sign is about. And so since we're looking at the structures in the brain, we will see that these glyphs have been pointing to, structures in the brain, mankind's. And so that it's important to know that, because now we get an understanding of how this energy operates within us. It's actually in our whole brain and body. So that's really fascinating. So this motto that they've given it, the symbol, like I said, is something that represents something else. It is representing right here in this instance is the brain of mankind. Okay, so now we're going to return back to the midbrain and the Cancer glyph. So if you look over here to the left, this red circle right here, and remember, this is the midbrain part of the brain. It's called the red nucleus. I just want you to get familiar with the parts. So if you go over here to the Cancer glyph, you see that red circle. It resembles this over here in red, which is the red nucleus. Okay, do you see this green part here? This light green part, that's the medial lemniscus. And if you look over here at the Cancer glyph, you see this tail looks just like the medial lemniscus. The medial lemniscus. Okay, and then the very tip of this brain region right here is the Spinothalamic Tract. And if you look over here at the Cancer glyph with the yellow tip, that is the Spinothalamic Tract. Okay, you can see that this definitely looks like this. I explained that before, but you're going to really get to see it in detail, as I had my friend ChatGPT make this up for me. So there you have it. We have the red nucleus. That's this circle on the glyph. We have the medial lemniscus, which is this green part in the midbrain. And it's the tail, the teal and the green part here. That's the medial lemnistic, and then the medial lemniscus. And then we have the spinal tract. That's the tail part, the tip, this yellow part, and the blue part down here. That is the Spinothalamic Tract. And so now we're going to go and learn what these three brain structures mean on the next slide. Okay, so let me move this out the way. What do these structures do? Okay, so I found that the red nucleus, the medial lemniscus, and the Spinothalamic Tract belongs to Cancer. So the red nucleus coordinates movement and posture. The red nucleus helps the body make smooth, coordinated movements. It receives information from the cerebellum and motor cortex and helps guide voluntary movement, especially of the arms and upper body. Okay, so this connection to Cancer, the body responds instinctively to protect, nurture, and reach toward what matters. Okay, so the other thing is the medial lemniscus, and that's this part. So the circle is the red nucleus. The circle of the Cancer symbol is the red nucleus. The medial is this part, like the body part of this little thing. And so what it does is it carries fine touch and body awareness. The medial lemniscus carries sensation of fine touch, vibration, and proprioception, the awareness of where your body is in space. This pathway tells us how we are being touched and where our body is, allowing us to experience gentle sensation and physical awareness. Okay, so then the very end tip of that glyph is the Spinothalamic Tract, and it carries pain and temperature. The Spinothalamic Tract alerts the brain to pain, temperature, and crude touch, helping us recognize danger and respond quickly. Pain is protective. It helps preserve life by warning us when something is harmful. Okay, so together these three pathways communicates how the body feels. One coordinates movement, which is so important. We'll get into the next slide. One carries gentle touch and body awareness, and one carries pain and temperature. So Does that help us to understand why cancer's motto is I feel? It doesn't think. That was Gemini's job. Okay. So before we think, we feel. Okay. And so all of these different things right here, as you heard me read, they're all connected to fine touch and letting our body knows how things feel. All these three different parts. So the red nucleus coordinates movement and posture, and that is so important. I'll get into that more in the next slide. Let me move this over. Okay, so we're going to go one by one. The red nucleus, it coordinates movement and posture. Okay, so we're going to go back to the crab, the actual creature, the crab. Okay, so the crab moves sideways using precise coordinated movements of their legs. This helps them hide quickly, escape predators, and navigate tight spaces among rocks and coral. Coordinated movement is vital for survival. Okay, that's in the crab. Now, in the human being, the red nucleus helps our body make smooth, coordinated movements and maintain posture. It works with the cerebellum and motor cortex to guide voluntary movement, especially of the arms and upper body. Okay, so movement is about survival. For crabs and us, the ability to move well keeps us safe and helps us thrive. Okay, so do you see how those things that responsible for the movement of our arms and legs is the same thing with the crab? He has to, the movement of the crab is very important for survival. It's the same thing for us. If we didn't have this red nucleus or whatever, we wouldn't be able to coordinate movement or our posture and where our arms is and all this other stuff. So that's what cancer is in charge of. Isn't that cool? Okay, so the medial lemniscus. Okay, for the crab. Crabs do not have ears, but they feel the world through vibration and fine touch. It's all about touch. In order for the crab to know where its food is, to know whether a predator is coming, it's all about feeling. It feels the movement in the ground. Okay, and so that's how it knows which direction it goes. So it's consciousness and it's mostly about feeling and fine touch. It senses the slightest movement and the slightest touch. So their legs and antenna detect vibrations in the water and ground, helping them find food, sense nearby movement, and even seek a mate. Okay, so this in humans, the medial lemniscus carry fine touch, vibration, and proprioception, our awareness of where the body is in space. It helps us feel gentle touch, texture, and movement, allowing us to experience our body and connect with the world around us. Sensation connects us. So through vibration and touch, crabs and humans experience and connect with the world around them. Isn't that cool? Okay, and so the spinothalamic tract, it carries pain, temperature, and crude touch. Okay, so for the crabs have a hard shell, but they still feel danger. They detect extreme heat, cold, and harmful stimuli through pain receptors. This tract helps trigger a quick response, pulling away, hiding, or defending themselves. It protects them from injury and helps them survive in a threatening environment. Okay, so it's not just about touching things in our environment. It also tells us what feels good. Is this hot? Is this cold? Is this too, And so in humans, the spinothalamic tract alerts us to pain, temperature, and crude touch. It warns us of danger so we can protect ourselves and make quick decisions. It sends signals from the body to the brain about potential harm, helping us react, withdraw, or seek safety. It is essential for our survival. Okay, so pain protects life. It warns both crabs and humans of harm so we can respond, adapt, and survive. Okay, isn't that cool? Isn't that really, really cool? So we really think that we're so different from the animals, but we are the animals. It's like through evolution, we have, built up from them. So yeah, Cancer, it's all about feeling, fine touch. What feels good to me? Does this feel harmful? Do I feel danger? Does this touch feel good? Is it crude? Is it painful? Do I like this? Do I not like? Is this dangerous? I can definitely relate to that because I have like a bunch of planets and asteroids in the fourth house. And that's the house of Cancer, but we'll get into houses and zodiac signs. And so, yeah, everything is about feeling and vibration for me. Okay, so we're going to get ready to close it out. Today, we explored Cancer in the way that has never been considered before. Okay, so we begin with the Cancer glyph and asked a simple question. Could this ancient symbol resemble a structure within the human brain? And as we examined the midbrain, we discovered a remarkable visual similarity. The paired red nucleus and the curved pathways of the medial lemniscus and spinothalamic tract form a shape that closely resembles the Cancer glyph. Okay, but the similarities didn't end with appearance. The red nucleus helped coordinate movement, reminding us that movement is essential for survival. The medial lemniscus carries sensations of fine touch, vibration, and body awareness, allowing us to experience the world around us. The spinothalamic tract carries pain, temperature, and crude touch, protecting us from danger by alerting us when something is wrong. Always pay attention to that feeling that we get that something just doesn't feel right. That's all Cancer. Okay. So then we turn to the crab itself. Like us, the crab depends on movement, sensation, and protective responses to survive. It navigates its environment, senses vibration, responds to touch, and avoids danger. Although our anatomy is very different, the principles of survival are remarkably similar. So Cancer's traditional motto is I feel. Perhaps this motto reminds us that feeling begins long before emotion. It begins with sensation, with the body's ability to detect touch, pain, temperature, and movement. Before we can think about the world, we must first experience it through feeling, okay? So whether this resemblance between Cancer glyph and the midbrain is coincidence or something more meaningful is for each of us to consider. My goal is not to prove a theory, but to invite curiosity and encourage us to look more closely at the remarkable connections that exist between nature, the human body, and the symbols that have been passed down through history. Maybe we are not as separate from the rest of creation as we sometimes imagine. Maybe we're all connected. Okay, so if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, share to help others discover these ancient connections. Comment below. I love hearing your thoughts and insights. Okay, so the next video is going to be Leo in the brain. So please make sure that you're visiting the description box below if you want to support us. Maybe later I'll put a Cash App or PayPal. I would really appreciate that to keep us going. Okay, let's look for Leo next. Thank you. All right, see you next time. Okay, you've made it to the end of this video. I want you to click on the link above to go to our introduction video, or I just might put the Gemini video in there. And then the one on the bottom will be the next video, which is Virgo. And just look for any links around here somewhere for any video that we think that you might be interested in watching next. Thanks again. See you next time.